Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I have the pleasure to bring on my friend, Caden Spruill, a fellow producer at Sports Radio 810 WHB. And in this video, we're going to go over more of the positives from the Chiefs' ass-kicking of the Las Vegas Raiders at Arrowhead Stadium. So, Caden, the Chiefs absolutely put belt to ass against the Raiders, beat them 31-0 at the noontime slot at Arrowhead Stadium. It was a great game. So many positives, not really any negatives to talk about, but what were your biggest positives from this win?
Yeah, you're completely right. It was belt to ass, Michael. I think the biggest positive from this game is, like you said, there really was no negatives. I think it was complete domination from the very get-go. Obviously, we know the Raiders had only 3 first downs the entire game, and then 30 total overall plays. So this is like I said, just complete domination from both sides of the ball. And I think, I spoke about it last week that the Chiefs really don't have an identity, and I think, like I said, that's not a bad thing. I think a lot of the reaction from that was that it's a bad thing, and it's not. It's a good thing that we have a really good team on both sides of the ball. Obviously, this defense held, the Raiders to the first shutout in the Andy Reid era. Not even just with the Chiefs, even with the Eagles, he never had a shutout in his entire, head coaching tenure. So, and then obviously we know what this offense did. They averaged, I think it was over 7 yards per play. So that's very, very efficient, from this offense. And then, Patrick Mahomes looked great. He looked like MVP Pat again. Obviously, we got Rashee Rice back in the fold. They did a really good job of getting him involved early. They did a concerted, job of getting him involved from the get-go. Xavier Worthy looked good, and then Travis Kelce looked great as well. I think that's something that's getting lost in the shuffle a little bit, is how much that's gonna make life easier for him again. It was very difficult with him last season, and then at the start of this season being one of the main options. But now he's, going to be looked at as probably the third or fourth option on most downs. So it's going to make it a lot easier for him to get open. So, yeah, just complete domination on both sides of the ball. And I'm very impressed with our performance this past Sunday.
The Chiefs' offense was legit. I mean, they went up and down the field and just scored at will. And I think that something you saw that we really haven't seen so far this season, the Chiefs dominated up front, whether it was on the defensive side or the offensive line. They just completely manhandled the Raiders. Like, in a game of football where you need to win in the trenches, the Chiefs physically dominated the Raiders, and it led to, them scoring on their first 5 offensive possessions, and then they basically said, you know what, we don't have to really try anymore. We're already up 31-0. They benched Patrick Mahomes with like 8 seconds left in the third quarter. Gardner Minshew didn't even have to try to complete a pass in the fourth quarter. They just ran the ball with Brashard Smith, and Andy Reid he had mercy on Pete Carroll and the Raiders and just threw in the towel and said, you know what, we're happy with the results so far. We'll rest everybody else. But, like you said, this was complete domination. The offense was unbelievable. The Raiders had no answers defensively to stop them. And the Chiefs' defense was so good in this game, and we don't even have to talk about the Chiefs' defense because of how dominant the offense was.
Yeah, it felt so good to, see the Chiefs finally just put the pedal to the metal. We talked about it earlier. I think when the week of the Giants game, we discussed how they always tend to, let these lower tier teams just stay in the game and just hang around until the end. And, it's often leads in a last second field goal or, a touchdown drive by Pat that, should never even be necessary in the first place. So it really felt good to see them, like you said, put belt to ass on this Raiders team that, obviously nobody in Kansas City, we have no love for the Raiders over there. And obviously we know the injury to Trey Smith could be significant. I don't think we've heard anything back. Have you heard anything back on that yet?
No, he's still, I think he's had an MRI, but we did get the bad news that Omar Norman-Lott tore his Achilles, right. Or no, not Achilles, right. His ACL, and so he's done for the season.
Right.
Man, that one sucks.
Right. And as far as Trey Smith, I think Caliendo, when he came in, he didn't allow any pressures in his 30 pass block snaps, or I think just 30. I can't remember if it was pass block snaps or snaps, but yeah, he didn't allow any pressures. So that's going to be good, but we know that, Trey Smith is exponentially better guard. Obviously, he's a top-paid guard in the league for a reason. So we're going to need him back for sure, and then hopefully we can figure out what's going on at the left tackle spot. I don't want to make any speculation, but I think it's starting to become a worry point. So hopefully we can get some good news on that as well, and then on Trey, and then I'm very. It's very unfortunate that we lost Norman Lott for this season. I think he was a really, he was a young guy who had a lot of potential to really help this defense this year. But with the trade deadline approaching, obviously we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But I think that there's an opportunity for us to add to the defensive line with losing him as well.
Oh yeah, and I think the one silver lining about losing Omar Norman Lott is that it kind of forces other guys on that defensive line to step up. And against the Raiders, they got to Geno Smith, they made his life a living hell. That Raiders offensive line, god awful. I mean, Stone Forsythe is a starting left tackle in this league. He shouldn't be, and that entire offensive line just couldn't stop the Chiefs' defensive line, and specifically Chris Jones, who just tore that game up. But, if we just look at it, the Raiders had fewer than 100 yards of offense in this game. They had 95. Like you said earlier on, they ran 30 plays as an offense. The Chiefs had 30 first downs. They only got 2 first downs passing. The other one came from penalties. That was one of the worst offensive performances in NFL history. And I don't want to make, I don't want to make it sound like the Chiefs didn't contribute to that, but a large portion of why the Chiefs won this game by so much is because the Raiders are so bad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy to look at it now, but I think week one it was the Raiders got a win over the Patriots, who now are sitting at 4-2, I believe, and they're in second place in the AFC East behind the Bills. So, or I think they're in first because they got the win over them, so they actually have the tiebreaker over the Bills currently. So yeah, you can't say that it was all the Raiders just being bad. I think you have to give a little bit of credit to the Chiefs as well, especially the defensive side. I mean that 100 less than 100 yards total offense. That's just absolutely crazy. And then the 30 total plays. I think that was the fewest plays ran in a game since 1952 in the NFL. So that's just absolutely crazy. It's ridiculous. So.
Or
Yeah.
I think the Browns might have done it in like the 70s, but
Right. Right.
either way, that's a
Right.
long time ago. And
Right.
this is the modern NFL. There
Right.
is no excuse for how the Raiders played in this game. And so I think you got to give the Chiefs a ton of credit. Offensively, that was the best game they played all season. I mean, literally whatever they wanted to do, screen passes, slants, it didn't matter. The Chiefs were going to be successful doing it. And the defense, they pitched a shutout. So, there really aren't a lot of negatives to talk about. There is one positive that I don't really think that anyone has said, and we'll get to that right after this break. This video is sponsored by my friends over at DM Injury Law. Injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation, but time is critical. Rely on the experienced personal injury attorneys at DM Law, Kansas City and Missouri's top injury law firm. DM Law is a full-service personal injury practice supported by a large team of investigators, case managers, medical records specialists, and more. And best of all, you don't pay unless they win. DM Law operates on a contingency fee basis, meaning no fees unless they win your case. And they also provide free consultations. So if you've been injured, don't wait. You can contact DM Law today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you pursue the compensation you deserve. Let them handle the fight while you focus on healing. Hurt in a car wreck? Call Mike. Remember, Mike's got this. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement. Thanks to DM Injury Law for sponsoring this video. Huge thanks to the sponsors that have supported this channel all football season long. Now, Caden, one aspect that is really going under talked about or just underappreciated is that Harrison Butker was perfect in this game, and I understand the Chiefs would have won whether he made every kick or missed every kick, but this was a guy that had consistently missed kicks to start the season, and for him to go out there and be perfect on his extra points and also nail that field goal, I think that was the confidence boost that he needed.
Yeah, and I think this game was probably the perfect opportunity for him to get that confidence boost in a game, where there's not a lot of pressure put on him. He wasn't put in any pressure spots. There was a lot of touchdowns. I think we only kicked one field goal, so he nailed all his extra points. And then that field goal, I think, was in mop up time, so there was never, it was never really in question if it was a need. If it was just. him just going out there and doing what he does. So I think this is the perfect opportunity for him to bounce back and get, like you said, get that confidence back. So hopefully he can carry that on moving forward. We got a big matchup, depending on how Jaden Daniels is looking, but we got a big matchup coming up against the Commanders next Monday night. So we'll need him on deck for that one as well.
Well, from what I've heard, I don't think that Jaden Daniels is going to start on Monday night, so it seems like it's going to be Marcus Mariota time, and I don't think it's 2017 anymore, so the Chiefs should be okay. But, either way, the Commanders are going to come in after just getting, talk about belt to ass. The Cowboys killed them, and so they're kind of fighting for not only, their seeding in the, NFC, but they're also trying to, not give their season away. So I do think they're going to come in hungry, but this Chiefs team is rolling right now. And I think one of the biggest takeaways is that they scored 31 points, and if it wasn't for the respect that Andy Reid had for Pete Carroll, they would have dropped 45, maybe 50. That's how bad that Raiders team was, and I think the Chiefs could have easily put a 50 bomb on them if they really wanted to.
Yeah, we're absolutely rolling right now, like you said. Over the last, I think, 5 weeks, they're first in point differential at plus 77, which is just crazy, man. So I think the rest of the league needs to be worried. I think they already see it; they feel it coming. You kind of see the public narratives. Look, you see the analysts, and Colin Cowherd is a guy that I watch a lot, and just seeing his perspective change over the last few weeks has been something to see, and I really like that everybody's noticing that the Chiefs are back.
Oh yeah, and it's not just Colin Cowherd. You got people that declared the dynasty was dead after the Chiefs started off 0-2, and right now they're like, this team is going to win the Super Bowl. And so it's like trying to find that happy medium of just ride the wave. The Chiefs are going to go up, the Chiefs are going to be down, but at the end of the day, a team with this much playoff experience and that head coach and that quarterback, anyone that said that they had no chance of winning the Super Bowl, you're ignorant and you don't know what you're talking about. Because right now, they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl according to Vegas, and Patrick Mahomes is the favorite to win the MVP. So clearly they're doing something right, in Week 7 of the NFL season going into Week 8. And I think the Chiefs didn't have the start to their season that they wanted, but I think they're pretty happy with where they're at right now.
Yeah, I think you couldn't be happier with where we are. Obviously, I think when you take away the Jags loss, I think that's one that everybody around the building would like to have back, and think that that we should have had that one. We should be sitting at 5-2 now. But I think when you just take away what's happened, earlier on in this season, and just look forward to what we have ahead, I think all signs are pointing towards this being a good finishing out the year right. And I'm interested to see how this team takes this challenge.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that we covered just about every positive from this Chiefs blowout win against the Raiders. It should be a good one next Monday against the Commanders at Arrowhead Stadium. But Caden, my final question for you is, where can the people find your stuff?
You can catch me on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I do the take with Andy Sweeney on Wednesday nights from 7 to 9, and then the night shift with Michael from 9 to 10 right after. This week we'll be on at 10 p.m., so you can catch us from 10 to 11. And then right here on the KC Sports Report.
Man, I'll tell you what, they are truly making that show the night shift, because we start at 10 on Wednesday, yes. But it should be a good one. We're going to just talk Chiefs football and get into all the fun trade deadline stuff. But if you guys haven't already done so, go follow Caden on Twitter. That will be linked in the description of this video. Hit that like button, subscribe for more daily Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video. And as always, go Chiefs.